Hello, welcome to Miss Hodgson's online kitchen class. Today I'm going to be making fish cakes. So the first thing that you need to do is get your fish. So I've decided to use plaice. I gave you the option of cod, plaice or haddock, and I've got some plaice here with the skin on. And the reason it says the skin on, because when you poach it, it can fall apart. So the skin kind of keeps it together, but obviously you won't be using the skin in the end. And then you need to put 150 millilitres of milk in a frying pan and 150 millilitres of water in with that. And then you need to put the fish in. So in it goes, so that it should just about cover the top of the fish. And fish cooks really, really quickly. In fact, if you put fish out in the sun, it would probably cook straight away because it cooks at a really, really low temperature. Even if you put hot water on it, it cooks. And then for the flavour, 2 bay leaves. So I'm just going to pop those bay leaves in. And then you need to take it over to your hob. And then you need to bring it to the boil. So I'm going to start off at a high temperature. And then as soon as you brought it to the boil, then you need to simmer it for 4 minutes. And then you need to take it off the heat for a while and then just leave it until it cooks all the way through. What happens is if you overcook fish, it gets really dry and the texture's not very nice. So the important thing is not to overcook it. And how you can tell if it's cooked, it completely changes colour. So if you have a quick look at the fish at the moment, there we go, you can see it's kind of a white beigey colour. And then when it's cooked, it turns a lot lighter. So you can tell when it's cooked. So we'll just leave that over there. And then the next thing you need to do is peel your potato and chop your potato. So I'm just going to clear my chopping board. I've already done a little bit of prep for later on when we mix it all together. So I've peeled my potatoes already. The recipe says 350 grams of potatoes. When I weighed these 2 potatoes, they came to about 410 grams, but now I've peeled them, they come to 348 to be precise, but about 350. So when you weigh your original potatoes before you peel them, make sure they're a little bit over. So I would say just over 400 grams is fine, or 2 medium-ish potatoes. So you don't even really have to weigh them. As long as you get 2 medium-ish potatoes, then that should hopefully be enough. Don't get 2 giant ones, otherwise you're going to have massive fish cakes, unless you want massive fish cakes, but then the flavour won't be as strong. So I've peeled these, and then I'm just going to chop them up into small manageable bits. So we're going to start off doing the bridge through the middle of the bridge, and then again through the middle of the bridge. I'm just going to move that wrapper out the way there, and then we can just do claw all the way down like that. So I'm going to cut it into smallish chunks, and that means it will cook quicker. And then we've got our larger potato, but it's not massive or anything. Cut that in half, and then bridge. I'm going to cut each bit into 3 like that. And then again, I'm just going to do my claw, making sure my thumb's out the way, going along and cutting it into smaller pieces. And then I'm going to get a smallish pan for the potatoes. You don't need a massive pan because there's not loads of potatoes. So just get a smallish pan, put your potatoes in the pan, and then I've pre-boiled my kettle. You can use cold water, but it will take longer. Put the kettle water in, just enough to cover the potatoes, and then you'll need to boil those probably for about 15 or so minutes. And I'm going to do that at the same time as I'm cooking the fish. So they're both on. The potatoes will take a little bit longer than the fish. The fish should be ready in about 10 or so minutes. But then just leave the fish on the side and then wait for the potatoes to be ready. The fish has been on for about 10 minutes, so it's ready. So if you have a look here, and I forgot to mention the first part, if you've got a pan lid, then put the pan lid on. Luckily this pan here is for poaching eggs, so it's perfect and this lid actually fits on it. But if you've got a normal frying pan, see if you can find a lid that fits. If not, then I would actually probably recommend using a saucepan. So take my lid off there and get the fish out carefully. Got the bay leaf there. You don't want to eat the bay leaf. The bay leaf's purely for flavour. I think I've been with people before that have actually tried to eat a bay leaf, but it's not for eating. So put your fish on a plate. So I've got mine here. Oh, that's going to fall apart there. Remember, it becomes very, very crumbly once it's cooked. So then we can just lay it down there. We're really hot at the moment, so we'll just leave it there. It's steaming away. And while that's cooling down, I'll just put that over there. If we just have a look at the cupboard, so I've put some nutrition facts about fish. Fish is very, very healthy. It's one of the healthiest things you can eat. It's packed full of protein, it's low in fat, it's got omega-3 fatty acid in, which you need, vitamin D, it boosts brain health, and it's really good for your heart and it's good for your eyes as well. So the only negative thing actually I would say about fish is that certain types of fish contain mercury, and that's obviously really, really bad for you. So avoid fish that contains mercury, like tuna. So you need to keep your sauce because you're going to need that for the potatoes. I've already strained my potatoes. So if you just have a quick look in here. So what you need to do is you need to get a colander. You need to drain your potatoes, leave the potatoes in the colander for about 1 minute and make sure all the water's drained away. You don't want them to be sloppy or anything. Put them back in the pan and then put that pan back on the hob on a really, really low heat. And this is just to dry it out. And while it's on the heat, you can start mashing it. So I'm just going to get a fork and I'm going to start mashing my potatoes. And if you have a look at the potatoes, they're really nice and fluffy. I've used Maris Piper potatoes, and I find they're always best for mashing up because they've got quite a fluffy centre, whereas some potatoes have more of a waxy kind of feel to them. Like if you buy just normal white potatoes, sometimes King Edward potatoes don't always have a fluffy texture. So I would say if you can get Maris Piper, then try and get them. They're definitely the best variety. So this is mashing up really nicely. You can use a potato masher actually if you want, although there isn't loads of potato here, so I guess the fork's quite easy to use. And you need to make sure your potatoes are fully cooked as well. I've gone to mashed potatoes before thinking they're cooked, and there's a few solid ones in there, and then it just ruins the whole texture of the mashed potato. So mashing away, and that looks just about done. And then to give it some flavour, I'll bring it over to here. I'm going to add some of the milk here. So this has got really, really rich flavour. It's got flavour of the fish. It's got the flavour of the bay leaf in as well. So I'm just going to get a really big dessert spoonful of that and add it into there. In fact, I'm going to get 2 of those. So it adds a really nice flavour. And then I'm going to mix that in. So that makes it a little bit more squishy. And then to that mixture, if you've got some flat parsley, you can add your flat parsley. I couldn't get hold of any flat parsley, so I'm using coriander actually instead, which I like. So coriander, and also something that isn't on the recipe but goes perfectly with fish is some dill. So I'm going to add some dill. I've just opened that and realised it hasn't even been opened yet, so I'll open this. I must have bought it a while back for something and then didn't use it. I'm just going to put a little bit of dill. So I'm just going to put it in my hand. It's got a really, really lovely flavour, really tangy. Goes really well with fish. So anything with fish in, if you add dill into it. And also another thing that complements fish really well is lemon juice or lemon flavouring. So I'm going to put a little bit of lemon peel in there. And that's going to complement the flavour of the fish when the fish gets added. And mix it all in together like that. And then once your fish has cooled down, then you need to flake your fish up and then you can mix your fish in. So while all that's cooling down, you can get your egg ready. So I've already got mine. So I've whisked an egg up and that needs to go in a container. And also, I have to admit, I have cheated with my breadcrumbs. Normally, I would leave bread for a few days with breadcrumbs. So if you've got some bread, some fresh bread, leave it on the side for a few days. And then when it goes hard, you can put it in the blender and then you can make some breadcrumbs out of that. Or if you've got fresh bread, you can put it in the oven for 5 or 10 minutes, dry it out, and then make breadcrumbs. Or you can cheat, which is what I did, and just bought some breadcrumbs. So they're all ready. I'm going to start to add my fish now into my potato mixture. I think I'm just going to use my hands, to be honest. So just peel the fish off like that and crumble it in. And you don't really want to be getting any of the skin in because of the texture. It's quite slimy. If you are pan frying the fish, then you could crisp the skin up and you can eat the skin. It's fine to eat. It's just really not a very nice texture when it hasn't been crisped up. When it's been crisped up, it tastes absolutely delicious. Obviously, it's something that I can't eat anymore because I'm a vegan. So, and that is one thing I really miss. I really do miss fish. And especially because it's so healthy as well. Although if it's been farmed in a way that the fish are all on top of each other and they're not fed healthy things, and it's definitely not a healthy option. It's best to check that your fish is sustainable. So if you have a look on the label and you see that it's sustainably farmed, then you know it's going to be treated a lot better. It's going to have a lot better flavour, and it's going to be a lot better for you and also better for the environment. Okay, so all my fish is added. I'm just going to wash my hands quickly so it's slimy and dry them. And then just mix your fish into your potato mixture. It smells really good, really yummy. And then the last thing you need to add is a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. That always brings the flavour out of things. And even though fish has a natural saltiness to it, it's always good to add a tiny little bit of salt. Unless you don't want to add any extra salt, then that's fine, you don't have to. Make sure that's mixed in to all of the mixture. Okay, so if you feel as though your mixture is still quite hot at this point, then you can leave it for another few minutes to cool down, or you can just try and cool it down a little bit. I think mine's going to be okay. So I'm just going to clear the side and then put some flour down first. So put some flour on the side. And then you need to divide your mixture into 4 equal pieces. Unless you want to have mini ones, you can have mini fish cakes if you wanted to. It's up to you. Now you could use the fork or a spoon, but I just think it's easier to use your hand. So let me just see if I can get half of this mixture out. Okay, I'm just going to try and put it in 2 halves first, and then I'm going to divide those 2 halves up into 4. I can already feel that my hands have got very squidgy and very messy already. Let's put the pan over there, and then I'm going to divide these bits up. Very squidgy. This is what my 2 sons are going to have for their dinner tonight, so they're quite looking forward to that. Right, that's kind of even, I guess. And then just really gently just try and mould them into a fish cake type shape, which is normally flat and round. So you don't have to be rough, just be as gentle as you can with this. So I'm just using my hand to pat it, and then just use your hands to slowly make it into a circular shape like that. Or if you wanted to, you could get a pastry cutter and then just fill it into the pastry cutter, and then that would ensure that they're all even. But I feel as though I haven't done too badly with these. These look fairly even and fairly neat. So now what you need to do is you need to make sure they're coated in flour. So there's flour on the top, the bottom and the sides. So I'm going to roll that one over and make sure there's flour everywhere. And the same as this one. I'm going to roll it over, pat it down, and then the final one. You want to be really, really gentle with these, otherwise they'll just fall apart. They're quite delicate, so just be really, really gentle. Okay, now you need to breadcrumb them. Right, if you have a quick look up here, here are some of the terms that we're using today. So pane is breadcrumbing, so that's what we're doing. We're going to pane them. We've also done some shaping. So if you're doing this in the GCSE exam, you could say that that was one of the skills you used, shaping, and also you've been binding, and also you're doing the coating with the egg. So if you think about the egg for the binding and the coating, down we go, thank you. Okay, so when you're paneing something, you always need to go flour, egg, breadcrumbs. Okay, so we've floured already. And then I'm just going to put a little bit more flour actually, just to make sure. I'm just going to turn them all over. I don't want them to stick, you see. Perfect. Okay, the first one's going to go into the egg. So into the egg, like this, and then, oh, it's really squishy. Now into the breadcrumb. So just shake it around like this, and then make sure it's covered. And then we can turn it over. Oh, it's kind of lost its shape a bit. Right, and now I can put it onto a plate. Okay, and then we'll do our next one. In we go. I think I might use this just to flip it over with. That will really help. Yeah, that's actually quite a good idea. And then we can get that into there. Cover it in breadcrumbs like this. Well, that's perfect. It's going to get a fresh plate out and then put it on the plate, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So this one. Okay, so it's really held its shape a lot more. So if you can use the fish slice, handily named, then that would be a really good tool to breadcrumb them with. And once you've breadcrumbed all 4 of them, then they need to go in the fridge. Okay, so once you breadcrumb them all, if you put them in the fridge for, depending on how much time you've got, I would say the minimum would be about 10 or 15 minutes. But if you've got longer, then put them in for longer, because then that just makes them more solid for when you cook them, and they'll hold their shape a lot more. The fish cakes out of the fridge, they've been in there for about half an hour, so they've firmed up quite a lot. And I've got a large pan to cook them in. It's a non-stick pan, so if you've got a non-stick pan, that would be better. And then I put some oil in. As you can see, it's quite a lot of oil. So normally when we cook at school, we have about a tablespoon of oil, but you'll need a little bit of oil, so maybe a couple of millimetres of oil, because we're going to shallow fry these. So it's really important to heat the oil up, because if you don't heat the oil up, then the fish cakes are just going to absorb all the fat, and that's going to make them really greasy. But we want to seal them as soon as we put them in. So just make sure you heat your oil up, and it kind of starts getting a bit dimply when it's heated up. So that's how you know it's hot. And you can also feel the heat coming off it. And I'm just going to place the fish cakes in. So I'm going to use my fish slice here just to gently put them in. So hopefully it should sizzle. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just push them off. So they're all in now, sizzling away. So periodically you need to check underneath them. So at the end you want them to be a nice golden brown colour, but you also want them to be warm inside. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to cook them too fast, otherwise they'll be really dark on the outside and really cold in the middle. So if you feel as though it's getting too hot or getting too dark, then just turn it down. They should take about 5 to 10 minutes to cook. Here are the finished fish cakes. They took about 10 minutes and I had to keep turning them over just to make sure they didn't get more brown on one side than the other. And I served them with a bit of lemon juice, so this could be sprinkled over the top. They could also be served with chips or something like that. Mushy peas and tartar sauce goes perfectly with them as well. So I really hope that you enjoy your fish cakes, and thank you for watching.